It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, today we're going to jump on that gigantic, sharp, interactive board. We're going to go through Fujifilm's FY 2023, which ended March of 2024. If you look on the giant board, you'll see a little man pushing a shopping cart with a Konica Minolta logo in it. And in today's episode, as I go through Fujifilm's FY 2023, I'm going to be making the argument as to why Fujifilm should just buy Konica Minolta and completely eliminate them from the marketplace. They need to buy Konica Minolta, absorb their assets, clean that thing up, and just eliminate Konica Minolta as a player in the market. We all know the industry has to consolidate, especially the print industry. That thing is so oversaturated. There's way too much supply versus demand. And at the end of the day, Fuji taking out Konica Minolta would be a good thing for the industry. Fujifilm, they have aspirations to do business here in America. A lot of people were talking about Fujifilm going direct and all these different things. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think Fujifilm cares whether they're direct or not. What I think Fujifilm cares about, and I can tell this based on their financials, is delivering into the marketplace products and services and making profit from that delivery. In other words, Fujifilm isn't going to do anything based on some emotional nonsense. Fujifilm's going to do things based on reality. They're going to do things based on their ability to produce profit from the things they do. And at the end of the day, if they bought Konica Minolta, there's a lot of opportunity that comes with that. They could spin off all those direct operations to mega dealers, to smaller dealers. They could do a deal and solidify the relationship they have with Xerox. Maybe they go to Dex Imaging. Who knows? But they would have options. It wouldn't be about Fuji buying Konica Minolta so they could have a big direct operation. It would be about Fuji buying Konica Minolta so they could take advantage of cleaning up a big old mess and turning that mess into profitability, at the same time taking out a major player in the space, because we have to consolidate. So without any further ado, let's jump on the board. I'm going to share what I put together for you. The first thing I got to show you is a slide I showed you last week. If Konica Minolta and Fujifilm just get together around manufacturing, I asked this question, I'm going to ask it again. Why not just call Fuji? Why do dealers need Konica Minolta? I think Fuji understands this. I think Konica Minolta understands this. If it's just about manufacturing, Konica Minolta is going to lose all its dealer distribution, in my opinion. They're going to lose it all. They're going to lose the ones that count. Because the ones that count, those bigger dealers, they're just going to run over to Fuji. They're not going to continue to do business with a company that has been struggling over the last 5 years to have any kind of profitability. If you look at Konica Minolta's financials, you could describe them as an inept company. They're inept at producing profitability, and they're inept at executing profitably. That's a problem. If you look at Fujifilm, they're disciplined, they understand how to execute, and they understand how to make profit. And if you're a dealer, and the machines are coming out of the same manufacturing facility, you are definitely going to call Fuji. Folks, this is a reality. KM, I have to ask you a question. I hear that you have a whole bunch of these KM1s out on trial. Are you not selling them? And when I heard this, it just kind of verifies in my mind Konica Minolta's struggles. When I think that you might have like over 10 of these out in the marketplace on trial, I'm thinking to myself, is that where all these losses are in the corporate, etc. category? When I look at what you project to lose in FY 2024 in corporate, etc., it's a little horrifying. And then this is kind of starting to make some sense. We're taking $2+ million pieces of equipment and we're putting them out there on trial because we can't sell them. Konica Minolta, please address this. If you have one on trial, yeah, maybe that's acceptable. But if you got like 10 on trial, a product that's been out in the marketplace for a few years now, that's a little bit scary. That is a real lot scary. So I'm hopefully Konica Minolta could address that rumor. You know, I remember a while back that I think EFI was doing this strategy, weren't they? I guess that kind of makes sense now that I think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's look at some revenue numbers. Fujifilm for the entire FY 2023 did a total revenue of $18.8 billion. They had an operating profit of 10%, $1.8 billion. I got to put the pen down and give them a big old clap. Let's look at their divisions, their business units. The healthcare business unit did $6.2 billion in top-line revenue, had an operating profit of $620.1 million, 10%. The materials business group, $4.4 billion in top-line revenue, 6.3% operating profit of $273 million. Business innovation, that's the group where all that print stuff lives, right? $5.3 billion in top-line revenue, operating profit of 8.6%, $450.7 million. Imaging, the imaging business, their camera lens business over there at Fuji, $3 billion in top-line revenue, operating profit of $648.6 million, 21.6%. Talk about an organization that understands the discipline and the importance of profitability, and I'm showing you the numbers of one. It's amazing, ladies and gentlemen. It's totally amazing. Even with corporate expenses and eliminations, which represented 1.2% of the total revenue of Fuji, a number of $231 million negative, they still come out with $1.8 billion in operating profit. 10%. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got some exciting news going on at Fuji. They made an announcement. I'm going to show it on a slide here in a second. I'm really excited about the announcement they made because I'm thinking they're listening to the End of the Day with Ray. But in the graphics communications business for Fuji, it was always under the materials. It was under the materials business unit. And Fuji made an announcement that in FY 2024, they're going to move it into the business innovation because it is about print. So I wanted to show you this number. For FY 2023, they did $2.1 billion in the graphics communications business unit. And folks, when you put that together with business innovation, for FY 2023, that's $7.4 billion print business, which represents 39.5% of Fuji's total revenue. So it's exciting that they're going to put this graphic communications in with the business innovation. We'll be able to see the operating profit. Does it go up? Does it go down with the addition of graphics communication? I'm really interested in that because right now graphic communication sits inside that materials business unit and there's no way to know what the operating profit is specifically for graphic communications because it's all lumped together. But that's good news going forward. There's the announcement. I want to thank Fuji for watching the End of the Day with Ray. I'm not saying that they took my idea about doing this, but I've been screaming about this for a long time. It's all about print. Put it in business innovation. It's exciting that they're actually doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, when I think about their business innovation business, let's look at the breakout of that. We got Office Solutions. Office Solutions, $3.3 billion. And Business Solutions, $1.9 billion. Operating profit of the 8.6 or $450.7 million. They have a $1.9 billion business that's really about DX strategies, kind of what Konica Minolta calls their DWDX. The difference between Konica Minolta and Fuji in selling services, IT type services, is they could do it profitably. It doesn't affect the profit. I mean, they got an 8.6% profit. And that's on a 1.9 billion services business and a 3.3 billion Office Solutions or kind of hardware business. Those are great numbers and they should be complimented for it. I wanted to do a comparison here next to Konica Minolta's breakout of their business units because this is extremely important. If you look at the business units for Fuji, healthcare, materials, business innovation, imaging, you look at the business units for Konica Minolta. You got digital workplace and professional print. That's all about print. That's $5.6 billion on Konica Minolta's revenue. They got the healthcare business. The healthcare business at Konica Minolta was $884.4 million. They have the industry business, and that's where their lens business is, and that's sitting at $892.1 million. But think about this print business. This digital workplace and professional print combined revenue of Konica Minolta for FY 2023 was $5.6 billion. Folks, if you add that $5.6 billion to Fujifilm's $7.4 billion, you're starting to get a pretty substantial size company in the print space. And keep in mind, some of that Konica Minolta revenue, if it came over to Fuji, Fuji might have to fire some customers. They might have to eliminate some of this because obviously they can't continue to do what Konica Minolta's doing because they produce $5.6 billion in the print business, but they really kind of struggle with operating profit. It was only at 5%, $285 million. and even Konica Minolta's operating profit of $285 million, I question because of the massive amounts of money that they dump into the corporate etc. account. I still believe they're taking cost from the digital workplace and professional print. And then when I hear this rumor regarding having some KM1s out there on trial as opposed to selling them, I'm starting to think, holy crap. Folks, this is why Fujifilm needs to buy Konica Minolta. Just some little statistics here. Last time Konica Minolta had any kind of operating profit, and it was only at 6%, was in the year 2018. It was $400.9 million. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, they were disasters. Even 2023, they came in with a 2% operating profit for the whole company of $167.7 million. But here's some numbers. Over the last 6 years, in the corporate etc. category, Konica Minolta wrote off $650.1 million. We don't have any idea what those write-offs were all about. What cost were they dumping in that $650.1 million over the last 6 years? And here's something that I thought was really amazing. I've been beating the crap out of this corporate etc. account of Konica Minolta for at least a few years now. And I'm looking at their forecast for FY 2024. They're projecting a $341.3 million loss in corporate etc. Folks, you can't even make this up. 341, there it is. And I'm like, what the hell is this all about? And then I hear the rumor about the KM1 being out on trial. In my head, my imagination, things are starting to go crazy. And I'm thinking, holy crap. And even if Konica Minolta hits their projections for FY 2024, it's 1% operating profit. What is going on at Konica Minolta? Why are they so inept at producing operating profit? Why are they so inept at executing a strategy that makes sense? These are really compelling arguments that Fujifilm should completely take Konica Minolta off the map. Let's look at Fujifilm, their cost of sales and general administrative expenses compared to Konica Minolta. Fujifilm top-line revenue of $18.8 billion. Their cost of sales were $11.3 billion, 59% of the revenue. Their gross profits at 40%. Operating expenses. Selling and general administrative expenses, $4.8 billion or 25.5%. 25.5% is Fujifilm's selling and general administrative expenses. At Konica Minolta, it's 41% of their revenue. It's 41% of their revenue. They both sit about the same gross profit. The problem is, Konica Minolta cannot control their costs. Their selling and general administrative expenses are outrageous. When you look at Fujifilm, an $18.8 billion company with selling and general expenses at 25.5% of revenue, leaving them an operating income of 9.3% versus Konica Minolta's measly 2%. Konica Minolta has 38% higher cost of selling and administrative expenses over Fuji. 38% as a percentage of revenue higher than Fujifilm. Let's look at this. I want to look at the asset to equity ratio. Asset to equity ratio, this is amazing. Fujifilm, 66.22%, meaning only 37.78% of Fujifilm's assets are encumbered. Fujifilm has about 23% of those assets are goodwill or intangible. Let's look at Konica Minolta. Konica Minolta, the asset to equity ratio is the opposite of Fujifilm. Asset to equity ratio is 39.77%, meaning 60.23% of Konica Minolta's assets are encumbered, and 20% of Konica Minolta's assets are goodwill or intangible. Think about that. It's the complete opposite. And in Konica Minolta's case, it's the complete opposite in a bad way. 60.23% of their assets are encumbered. At Fujifilm, it's only 37.78%. I want to end with this slide. And I'm hoping that Konica Minolta can really rectify this, because this to me is a big issue. If they really have, I mean, double-digit amount of these out in the marketplace on trial, that is really scary. And you know, and folks, I don't put rumors on the end of the day with Ray lightly. I want them to be substantiated a few different times. But Konica Minolta, you're more than welcome to come on the show and explain how many of these you actually do have out in the field as trials, and explain exactly what cost you're dumping into the corporate etc. account, and why you're projecting that to be so damn high for FY 2024, and why you're projecting your operating profit for 2024 to be at 1%. Or Konica Minolta, you can come on the end of the day with Ray and tell the whole world why you're excited that Fujifilm just bought your company. Because that's really what I believe needs to happen. And when you look at Fujifilm's number and their discipline in the marketplace, I think most would agree. But one thing's for sure, ladies and gentlemen, status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.